Hello. Today I wanted to talk about the difference between motivation and determination and which one is best to help you achieve things. I've gone to a lot of seminars and workshops. I've attended webinars. I've attended meetings, and I've attended a lot of teaching events and educational events put on by maybe an events company or one of the great motivational speakers of our time. And I've noted one thing every single time. I've always noticed one single thing all of this time. It's that every time I've just come from out of there, I'm used up, I'm pumped up, and I'm motivated to just go on and do it. But I find that after 3-4 days, the effect sort of fades away, and you find yourself going back to exactly the situation and mental processes that made you buy the ticket to the motivational event in the first place, and you haven't achieved much from it. So maybe motivation is not the thing on its own. There's nothing wrong with motivation, don't get me wrong. You need to be motivated, but motivation fades. Motivation is an effect. As such, motivation is a consequence. Motivation on its own can't be, I've found, at least with myself, it can't be the engine that makes you move forward. It can't be the engine that drives you. Because look, in Africa we have this notion of thinking that if we pray and then sit on our asses or on our bums, as the British would have you say, if you sit on your bums and do nothing after praying, tomorrow you'll still be poor. Because things happen only if you make them happen. What God have found is there for is to help give you energy, to help move enemies out of your way, move things and people that are sort of blocking your path out of your way. But in order for those to be on your way and blocking you, you have to be moving somewhere. Now, if you're sitting on your ass and doing nothing, there's nothing that God can help you with. You see. So prayer, I'm not bashing prayer. Don't get me wrong. I pray a lot. I believe in God a lot. I live for God a lot. But God, if I remember my Bible well, He said to Adam, "You will eat the results of your own sweat. Everything you put on your table will be from your own sweat." I don't remember God ever saying He's joking with him. He has free lunch. So for me, while motivation is a sort of a great way to actually realize that there's much more that's there out there for you, it's not what you should be shooting for, or you shouldn't be crying about lacking motivation or lacking um, anything that's related to motivation. For me, I've found that what works is determination, and for me, what makes me determined to actually achieve something is if I've got a big enough reason for it. For me, that's my children, that's my wife. I'm absolutely determined that they will not live the kind of a life that I lived growing up. I love my mother to death. She achieved a miracle raising 6 children on her own on a domestic worker's salary. Um, it was great, but looking back, we went so well off. I didn't know at the time because she was so good in raising us. We didn't realize we were poor. I'm only looking back now. I see that we were not very well off. We were quite poor, very, very quite. Even though I never went on to school on foot without any shoes. I never went hungry. I don't know how the woman achieved it, but she did. Yeah, a grown man. So I'm thankful for that. I love her to death. Now, for me, what I've seen works is determination, because you put a big enough reason there, and that pushes you to actually go out and do something, go out and move things. Because if you don't move things, well, things stay the same, and the very reason that you have for achieving that thing, well, it remains sitting like that. So for me, I'm determined that my children will get the best education. They will live the kind of a life that I didn't, and I'm determined that my life will be of service. I do believe God put me on earth for a reason. I have found that reason, so that's what I'm living for. So I found that living for a purpose, for me, living for a purpose works. So I found that if I praying and being specific about what I want, what I would like God to help me achieve, I do ask for energy to be able to achieve this, for energy to be able to achieve that, and for energy to be able to achieve that. And I do ask God to remove my enemies and to remove things like that, and to remove stumbling blocks blocking my way. I do pray and ask for heavenly guidance on major issues that I'm dealing with currently, which uh, tend to be, well, quite a lot. Um, I'm enjoying every single minute of it, because for me, it's what I've been put here on earth. I've found that. Now, pairing that with a vision, for me, has been a game changer, because it gives me a reason to wake up every day. It has me go. It has me just jumping up from my bed and going. Don't get me wrong, there's days when you will feel dem- demotivated. There's days when you will feel down. There's days when you'll feel like just staying in your bed and not going anywhere. But for me, I've found that comparing motivation and determination, it's always better to be determined than just empty motivation, because motivation really is just a lot of gas, really, no substance. Um, as for determination, determination forces you to have a goal. It forces you to be able to crunch numbers and have a written down goal to achieve it by. It forces you to have action steps that you need to be taking every day. It forces you to think and reason. It forces you to innovate. To it forces you to be able to turn your problem this side and that side, and it forces you to think about every problem and every challenge. It forces you to be okay with pushing. For a long time, when I sold insurance for, I think, close to about 16, 17 years. A lot of time I'd feel very shy having to go up to a group of persons and introducing myself and just telling them about the product I was selling. I struggled with that problem for years. I struggled with that problem for years until I got to a point where I saw hunger in myself, because at the time I didn't have any kids, where I was going hungry, uh, because I was no longer staying at home. Everybody around me, well, most of my friends had cars. Uh, well, only starter cars, but they were cars. Um, some of them even had some one-room places built somewhere. And we were the same age, and we were doing exactly the same work, selling insurance, but I'd be the one behind every single time, earning you lousy 2000s, your 3000s, your 4000s, because of being shy and being most of the time lazy. Um, so that forced me to be able to practice and role play and put my shyness aside and be able to reason and see and think that no matter what happens, they won't cut my throat anyway, they won't kill me. They may refuse to listen, but that doesn't hurt, does it? Not physically anyway. So just that you sort of get used to the nose, and you sort of then get to know your number. I mean, you know that if I approach 10 people, probably 8 of them are gonna say no. One is gonna be a maybe, call me later. One is gonna be okay. Let's write this. So you know that in 100 people, um, a certain number of people will be maybes, Call me later, I'm still gonna talk to my wife. Call me tomorrow, call me next week, and you know the set number that's gonna be okay. So you don't mind the nose as such, you don't mind the hurt along the way as such. I'm not meaning to talk about insurance, I'm meaning to talk about the hurt on and the blocks and the stumbling blocks on your way. If you're determined and you write your goal down, you write what you need to achieve, what you want to achieve, what you need, when you need to achieve it by, and how achieving it is going to help you, and having all of those down and going out and doing the action plans and having an action plan and going out and doing the action plan. Now, when you do the action plan, you're gonna meet stumbling blocks. That way you get to know your numbers, you get used to your numbers, that okay, if I need to achieve this, I need to go a certain distance. At this distance, I'm gonna meet potholes on average. Uh, these number of kilometers. So I can gauge my time that I will take to get there. It will take me maybe an hour longer or 2 or 3 hours longer, but I'll get there within an acceptable amount of time. So for me, it's just a love of freedom. For me, it's the love of the good life for your loved ones, because being lazy and sitting on your ass and doing nothing, crying about we're in Africa, so I'm in Africa myself. In Africa, there's a lot of people who practice dark arts. A lot of people make those people into an excuse that, oh, ngiyathakathwa mina, oh, abathakathi. But there's things you can do to prevent that, or to recover from that. If and actually, a lot of them are bantu, just amavila. It's just people who are lazy. Abenza abathakathi baba mahawu abo ukuvika. So what I'm preaching mina, it's comparing the two, motivation and determination. It's best to have a determination. It's best to be determined. It's best to say, no matter what it takes, I'm going to do it. No matter what it takes, I'm going to make it happen. No matter what it takes, I'm going to have it happen. For me, this is what makes me go. This is what makes me achieve things. And actually having in front of you stumbling blocks, for me, has always pushed me even greater. Just as much as having a huge giant goal that I have no idea how I'm going to achieve. A lot of the time I just make goals that are giant, that I have no idea how I'm going to achieve. But a lot of the time I find myself at a later stage coming up with ideas, wild ideas, but ideas nonetheless, that are actionable, that are possible. And a lot of the time I do achieve a lot of these things. There's times that I haven't, where I made a mistake, maybe stumbled a bit longer than I should have, maybe said, no, let's shelve this idea for now, and pursue this one, and only to kick myself later seeing somebody coming out with the exact same idea that I have, doing the exact same thing that I thought I should I was going to do, that I thought I should do. So I don't know. What I've decided mina ukuthi, sorry about my, I know I'm speaking to people worldwide, yeah. But I am Zulu, so I'm gonna just put it a bit in there. You can get to understand a few Zulu words. Yeah, so a lot of the time kuba ukuthi I do get the blocks, but a lot of the time I understand ukuthi I shouldn't have allowed that to take me out of my path and do something else, because I find that somebody has done it before myself. As for any into, another thing is coping stuff. Do you know Oreo, the biscuit, Oreos, the biscuit Las America, the American biscuit? That's a copy. That's a copy. There was a exact similar biscuit that was made first, and the manufacturers of Oreo copied it, and they won. Pepsi copied Coca-Cola, and they won. Black like me, Umashaba, in Joburg, he copied these Revlons and these French, German, American companies, and he won. He's a billionaire. Dangote, he copied this, like, Simpo, this, I don't know how to read the damn name. Cimpor, the Portuguese cement company. Simpo, I don't know how to say it. And those NPCs, the companies that make cement. There was a shortage of cement in Nigeria at the time. He copied them. It had been done a lot before. He made his. I know there's people. Another person might say, but these people are such and such. I know. I know what they are. I know who they are very well. Oh, believe me, I do. But at the end of the day, is that in order for them to be that in the first place, they had already taken the first steps, at least, to achieving what they achieved. So for me, it counts a lot that they did take the first steps to achieve what they achieved, even if they did get some invisible helping hand. If they did, I don't know. I do understand their world so much. I don't know. You'd have to message me and ask separately what I mean by that. I won't talk about that here, but these people, be they as they are, they still took steps. When they started taking the steps, they were nobody. They knew nobody. A lot of them were starting afresh in their garages. Some of them didn't have any garages whatsoever, mixing a damn thing in their Rondavel kitchen and things like that. In Africa, I mean, you've got a lot of people, billionaires, who are like that. I'm not saying everybody should aim to be a billionaire, but I've never heard anybody saying it hurts either. But for me, just have a goal, just be determined, just have a timeline to achieve it, have action steps, and go approach people who are going to help you achieve that. Find a mentor, find mentors. Uh, don't complicate your vision so much. Don't complicate the things that you need to do. Simplicity is the best. Take simple steps, simple things to do. All right. I just thought I should share this. I don't know if it will find a sympathetic ear or not. If I'm just full of it, tell me. Um, I'll accept it. But thank you. Have a good day. Share ideas. Let's share ideas. Thanks.